In the pulsing heart of an arena where raw energy crackles like lightning, a strategic alliance was silently reshaping American political destiny. Donald Trump wasn't just a spectator, he was the architect of a political masterstroke that would leverage the global platform of the UFC to electrify his path back to the White House. From the brutal honesty of the octagon to the corridors of power, this is the untold story of how combat sports became the unexpected kingmaker in Trump's 2024 comeback. Buckle up for a journey that reveals how the world of mixed martial arts might have just rewritten the rules of American politics forever. In the gritty underbelly of late 1990s combat sports, the UFC teetered on the razor's edge of extinction, bloodied and battered, not just by fighters, but by a relentless storm of political condemnation. This raw, unfiltered gladiatorial showcase was more than a sport. It was a battlefield of survival. Branded as a savage spectacle too brutal for civilized society, the UFC found itself cornered, with pay-per-view giants turning their backs and state after state slamming the door on its blood-soaked dreams. This wasn't just a fight for legitimacy. This was a fight for survival, where every punch threatened to be the knockout blow that would erase the UFC from sporting history forever. At the same time, the neon-drenched kingdom of Atlantic City, Donald Trump reigned supreme with his triad of gambling palaces, Trump Plaza, Trump Castle, and the opulent Trump Taj Mahal. As these once invincible fortresses began to crumble under economic pressure, Trump unleashed a cunning counterstrike: combat sports. Where gambling revenues faltered, the primal roar of fighters became his salvation, with Mike Tyson's legendary bouts transforming his casinos into electric arenas of raw human drama. In the world of entertainment and sport, Trump saw potential where others saw chaos. Where others saw brutal, marginalized spectacle, Trump glimpsed a diamond in the rough, uncut and waiting to be polished. The Trump Taj Mahal and Trump Plaza weren't just venues. They were golden tickets of legitimacy, transformative stages that would elevate the UFC from underground blood sport to mainstream spectacle. Each event hosted under his banner was a calculated chess move, injecting the raw, unfiltered energy of cage fighting with the unmistakable gleam of Trump's brand. This wasn't just about real estate or temporary rental. This was a strategic coronation, a bold declaration that would reshape the destiny of combat sports forever. Trump didn't just offer space, he offered salvation, wrapping the UFC in the silk of his legendary showmanship and turning what many saw as a gladiatorial freak show into a mainstream phenomenon. This early support didn't go unnoticed by the UFC's leadership. Dana White, who would become the president of the UFC in 2001, never forgot Trump's willingness to take a chance when others wouldn't. This mutual respect laid the groundwork for a relationship that would span decades. This mutual respect continued when Trump competed with the UFC for a while. Donald Trump partnered with Affliction Entertainment, an MMA promotion aimed at rivaling the UFC, lending his name, resources, and visibility to elevate its profile. Hosting high-profile fights featuring stars like Fedor Emelianenko, who was, by the way, snapped up from the clutches of Dana White's UFC, Trump played a key role in marketing the brand. As the UFC evolved into a global phenomenon, its fan base exploded. Millions around the world tuned in to watch fighters from diverse backgrounds compete at the highest levels of mixed martial arts. The sport's emphasis on discipline, resilience, and overcoming adversity resonated with audiences everywhere. These are qualities that also featured prominently in Trump's narrative about himself. Fast forward to the 2016 presidential campaign. Dana White publicly endorsed Trump, speaking at the Republican National Convention. He praised Trump not just as a businessman, but as a loyal friend and someone who gets things done. This endorsement was significant, coming from the head of a major sports organization with a vast and passionate fan base. But the relationship went beyond endorsements. Trump's appearances at UFC events became more frequent and highly publicized. Sitting ringside, he was often seen interacting with fighters, officials, and fans. These moments were broadcasted globally, blending the worlds of sports and politics in unprecedented ways. Social media amplified the impact. Clips of Trump at UFC events went viral, shared millions of times across platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The visuals were powerful. A former president amidst the excitement of a championship fight, engaging with the sport's biggest stars. It painted a picture of accessibility and relatability that traditional political events couldn't match. High-profile fighters also played a crucial role. Athletes like Jorge Masvidal, Colby Covington, and Henry Cejudo didn't just offer lukewarm endorsements, they became vocal advocates for Trump's policies. They leveraged their own massive followings to promote his campaign messages, often intertwining them with their personal stories of struggle and success. Masvidal, for example, embarked on a Fighters Against Socialism bus tour in Florida, a critical swing state. Speaking to fans about his own experiences and family history, he connected political ideology with personal narrative. This approach personalized complex political concepts, making them more accessible to everyday voters. The UFC fan base, particularly in key battleground states, became an important target demographic. These fans are predominantly male, aged 18 to 45, and often feel overlooked by traditional political outreach. By engaging them through the UFC, Trump's campaign tapped into a reservoir of potential support that might have otherwise remained untapped. Moreover, the UFC's ethos aligned closely with the themes of Trump's campaign. The sport celebrates individual achievement, hard work, and the ability to overcome obstacles, all pillars of Trump's political messaging. This synergy made the partnership feel authentic rather than forced, enhancing its effectiveness. An often overlooked but significant aspect of this strategy was the use of podcasts to reach younger voters. Podcasts have become a major medium for information and entertainment among younger demographics, particularly men aged 18 to 35. Recognizing this, Trump's team sought opportunities to appear on popular shows to broaden his appeal. Dana White, with his extensive connections in the media and entertainment industries, played a role in facilitating some of these appearances. While specific details of his involvement are not widely publicized, it's known that White's support helped open doors to platforms that might have otherwise been inaccessible. Dana White, with his extensive connections in the media and entertainment industries, played a pivotal role in facilitating these appearances. He was instrumental in arranging Trump's interview on The Joe Rogan Experience, understanding that the unscripted nature of the podcast would allow Trump to connect authentically with listeners. The video had 20 million views in 2 hours and about 35 million in 2 days. One more notable example is Trump's appearance on the Full Send podcast, hosted by the Nelk Boys, a group known for their prank videos and massive following among young men. The episode garnered millions of views within a short period. The casual, unfiltered format allowed Trump to present himself in a more relatable light, discussing topics ranging from politics to personal anecdotes. Similarly, Trump's interview on This Past Weekend with Theo Von attracted significant attention, amassing over 14 million views on YouTube. These appearances provided platforms where Trump could engage in informal conversations, resonating with audiences who favor authenticity over traditional political discourse. The impact of these podcast appearances was measurable. Analytics showed spikes in search queries and social media mentions following these interviews. Discussions erupted on platforms like Reddit and Twitter, indicating a high level of engagement among younger voters. For a demographic that often shows apathy toward politics, this was a significant achievement. These media engagements complemented the broader strategy of leveraging the UFC's platform. By appearing on shows that resonated with young men, Trump tapped into a vein of cultural relevance that traditional campaigns often miss. The informal settings allowed for discussions that felt more genuine and less scripted, which can be appealing to skeptical younger voters. Grassroots movements within the UFC community began to emerge. Fan clubs and online forums started organizing political discussions, voter registration drives, and even local campaign events. The sense of camaraderie and shared purpose that defines sports fandom translated effectively into political mobilization. Internationally, the UFC's global reach gave Trump exposure to audiences beyond America's borders. While foreign nationals couldn't vote, the international perception of the US presidency holds weight in diplomatic relations and global policy discussions. Trump's association with an international sport signaled a form of cultural diplomacy, albeit unconventional. The storytelling aspect was also pivotal. Trump's narrative of being an outsider fighting against the establishment mirrored the journey of many UFC fighters who overcame adversity to reach the pinnacle of their sport. This parallel made his message more relatable to fans who admire the grit and determination required to succeed in the UFC. Economically, the partnership had tangible benefits. UFC events generate significant revenue for host cities through tourism, hospitality, and local business engagement. Trump's focus on economic growth and job creation found a real-world example in these events, reinforcing his policy positions with observable outcomes. Education and community outreach programs associated with the UFC provided another layer of connection. Initiatives aimed at youth development, anti-bullying, and promoting physical fitness aligned with some of the social policies advocated by Trump's administration. Supporting these programs allowed for engagement with families and communities at the grassroots level. Authenticity remained a key factor throughout. Trump's genuine enthusiasm for the UFC didn't come across as a political stunt. Whether attending events, engaging with fighters, or discussing the sport, he appeared sincere. This authenticity helped bridge the gap with voters skeptical of politicians who pander for votes. Also, if you find our content authentically interesting, subscribe to the channel and stay authentically curious. Now back to the video. The symbiotic relationship between controversy and attention benefited both Trump and the UFC. Controversy, a common element in both politics and combat sports, kept them in the headlines. Whether it was a fighter making a provocative statement or Trump engaging in a war of words with opponents, the resulting media coverage ensured they remained at the forefront of public discourse. As the election approached, the cumulative effect of these efforts became apparent. In swing states with large UFC followings, Trump's support was stronger than predicted by traditional polling methods. The UFC fan base, mobilized through a combination of targeted outreach and organic enthusiasm, played a role in shaping the electoral landscape. But this alliance also sparked debates about the role of sports in politics. Should athletes and sports organizations involve themselves in political campaigns? Opinions were divided. Some argued that athletes have a platform and a right to use it, while others felt that sports should remain separate from political discourse to preserve unity among fans. The UFC navigated this terrain carefully. While Dana White and certain fighters were openly supportive of Trump, the organization maintained that it did not officially endorse any political candidate. This allowed individual personalities to express their views without positioning the UFC as a whole within the political fray. Looking beyond the election, the implications of this partnership are profound. It demonstrated the power of non-traditional campaigning and the importance of cultural institutions in political strategy. Future campaigns may seek to replicate this model, forging alliances with other sports or entertainment entities to reach specific demographics. However, there are risks involved. Aligning too closely with a political figure can alienate portions of a fan base, especially in a polarized climate. The UFC will need to balance these relationships carefully to maintain broad appeal. For Trump, the association with the UFC provided a platform to rebrand and reconnect with voters. It allowed him to present himself in a different light, emphasizing traits like toughness, perseverance, and a fighting spirit. These qualities resonated with voters who value strength and determination in their leaders. The use of social media and digital platforms was also a critical component. The rapid dissemination of content featuring Trump and the UFC amplified their messages and reached audiences that traditional media might not capture. This underscores the growing importance of digital strategy in modern campaigning. Moreover, the partnership highlighted the significance of micro-targeting in political outreach. By focusing on specific interest groups like UFC fans, campaigns can deliver tailored messages that resonate more deeply than broad, generalized appeals. This approach can lead to higher engagement and, ultimately, increased voter turnout among targeted demographics. The success of this strategy may encourage other political figures to seek alliances within niche communities. Sports leagues, gaming communities, and entertainment fandoms could become new battlegrounds for political influence. This shift would require politicians to understand and respect the cultures of these communities to engage authentically. As we consider the future, the role of media, both traditional and social, cannot be overstated. The way information is disseminated and consumed has a profound impact on public perception. The Trump UFC alliance capitalized on this by creating shareable content that blurred the lines between news and entertainment. For the UFC, the experience provides valuable insights into the power and responsibility that comes with influence. The organization must navigate the fine line between leveraging its platform for positive impact and becoming entangled in divisive political battles. In retrospect, the partnership between Donald Trump and the UFC serves as a case study in modern political strategy. It demonstrates how cultural relevance, authenticity, and targeted engagement can influence electoral outcomes. It also highlights the evolving landscape of political communication in the digital age. The broader implications extend to society at large. As the lines between different spheres of public life continue to blur, individuals and organizations alike must consider how their actions contribute to the collective discourse.
We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again.
The choices made by influential figures can shape not only immediate outcomes, but also set precedents for future interactions between politics and other sectors. In the collision of spectacle and power, the boundary between sports and politics dissolves before our eyes. As the next chapter of leadership unfolds, who knows what unexpected arenas will forge our future.
And we are going to make our country great again.
Hit that like button, drop a comment, share this story, and subscribe, because the most electrifying battles are just beginning, and you won't want to miss a single moment. Check out our video on Dana White's Power Slap, the CTE farm video next.